My brain's on eggs right now. Anyway, let's get to RHONY. Episode 2, I didn't think it was a banger. Did I enjoy it? For sure. I enjoyed myself. I think it's interesting that they're sticking with the food route, apparently. I don't know if that's necessary, but I like it. I do like it. I like the cast, even the people I don't necessarily love, i.e. Jessel and Sai. I still understand what they're bringing to the screen. I think Sai's getting a pretty decent response from the audience overall. I think Jessel is getting a kind of mixed review response from just comments and stuff that I've been reading. But let's start it out. Or actually, before we do, like, we're 2 episodes in. How do you feel about it thus far?
I feel the same. I mean, obviously, like last week, I thought it was people came for us, but I thought it was a smashing success. I thought that it was good. It felt fresh. It just felt good. Yeah, look, we kind of expected there was going to be a letdown somewhere, whether it's because of the setting, whether it's because of the cast, whether Bryn not being there is kind of part of it. We don't really know yet, like if this was maybe season 2, season 3, and we kind of know how everything works and we can point to one thing as to why this episode was down. It's, Bryn's absence because Bryn makes everything go. Okay, that makes sense. Or, all right, we shouldn't have had them in the Hamptons because there's not a lot going on and they're kind of just still getting comfortable with each other. That makes sense to me too. I honestly think that probably both of us are kind of looking at this show right now from an optimist perspective, just saying sure. Like, okay, like, yeah, it wasn't bad. I wasn't bored. It just didn't have a whole lot of substance. Now I will say
being graded, like it's going to be graded a little bit more strict only because it's number 2. I think that if this is an episode, like you said, like season 7 of a show, you would have just been like, huh, yeah, it was fine. It's whatever. Yeah. It was like another week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like you said, like kind of going back to the food route, which I don't know if that was organic or inorganic, but it just doesn't seem like there's enough there. Like we do need to get in some like palpable drama, which it seems like towards the end of the episode we kind of do get into when Jessel just kind of like goes on a rant and it's like, all right, you started off okay, but now you're just
I like that.
And that's a good thing. Like we kind of do need something like that. But I mean, with this episode in particular, I thought that it was good because we are still getting to learn who these women are, kind of what makes them exactly, and we need that. And I thought that what we got from this, obviously, one, it was very interesting because I'm now under the assumption that all Hamptons houses look the same because when they walked into Erin's house, oh, it's a fucking summer house. All right, cool. Like,
where's Kyle?
I'm pretty sure Kyle stayed there like 2 or 3 years ago. I'm pretty sure I recognize that house. Yeah, they had to downgrade from 5 bedrooms to 4 bedrooms because they couldn't do that. But
the coolest thing is, and she remains the coolest chick ever. It goes to Jenna Lyon's spot in the Hamptons, who's richer than all of them probably. She's got a fucking 1,500 square foot, like little lofty looking, cool, edgy little spot in the Hamptons. Of course she does. Of course she has 1,500 square feet and she's totally content with it. And she pulls up in an old school Mercedes Benz. Like she's just so. Well,
that's the thing is, yeah, she's so fucking cool. And she also has already told us she hates hosting. She does not like it when there's too many people around. She likes one-on-ones. She likes to be with like 1 or 2 people so she can really get to know them. Otherwise, she feels like she kind of blends into the background and she doesn't really get to show her actual personality, which I think by the end of the season, she'll step it up a little bit when she's around the whole crew. But yeah, of course she has a 1,500 square foot place in the Hamptons because she's not going to have more than 1 or 2 other people there.
No, she's content. She doesn't need more than that.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, dude, she's dope. But let's get into it. We see them packing, which is, I don't care if you're an influencer. That was ridiculous. That was absolutely insane. Borderline embarrassing. If you're going to pack, that it's 3 days.
Yeah.
Like it's 3 days. She brought enough clothes for a month, dude. And I'm not trying to like knock anybody. I get it. If you want to make outfit changes, I know you got to pack some extra shit. I get that you're on TV. You want to look your best. I'm not knocking that. There was wardrobe bags. There was actual luggage. The whole back of an Escalade, like extended Escalade or Tahoe Suburban, whatever the fuck that was filled to the brim for 3 days for 3 people.
It's so funny because honestly, like I like you said, like I get it. Like you're a content creator, you're in fashion, you want to make sure that you look good, you have all these outfits, you want to take pictures, blah, 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 whatever.
I respect that.
I respect that entirely. However, she did start to annoy me throughout the episode with the whole content creating thing. Like there's no need for you to sit at dinner in the middle of this nice restaurant and complain like, oh no, the picture of this martini is wrong. Like, first off, That's, I think, at this point, social media 101. You don't take pictures of your fucking drink anymore, loser. Like, that's just not like people did that when Instagram first dropped in like 2011. It's like, oh yeah, like my
That
first post on Instagram, which you can probably go see right now, was a plate of wings and a beer. And I'm like, hell yeah,
yeah.
fucking
And you get
great
like
Thursday
you got
night.
to get the angle, like you
Yeah,
like
and it's
back it a little
I
lighting
put some
and a
like
filter.
grainy fucking filter on it, like. But that's what I was
Going to
thinking the whole time.
look.
I'm like, you're an actual content creator. You want to do this. Don't take a picture of your martini. Nobody gives a shit. Take a picture of yourself. Take a picture of the ambiance. Take a picture of what's going on. Take a picture of the fucking sunset for all I
The
care.
other ladies at the table, like night out with the girls. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, I wasn't kidding.
That's Shooter's first post. That's fucking great. You weren't
Three
lying.
likes. 3 likes.
2. No, sorry. That was 2 likes, 3 comments. And it is, in fact, a plate of wings and a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale with a grainy filter, the white border around the frame.
Yep.
And you added somebody. That one comment is you, and you added somebody.
Perfect.
At somebody. That's
at somebody. That's I love that.
Early days of Instagram.
It's the early days of Instagram, and that's what I felt when she was doing this. When she was taking a picture of her martini, I'm like, nobody cares. Like, this is annoying now. I don't like. I get what you do. That's great, but you don't see Jenna sitting over there commenting on everybody's outfits that walk by and trying to give them like fashion tips on fucking J. Crew. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Just leave it alone. Take a couple of pictures, but don't be annoying about it. Like, I get it. You want to take pictures with your friends, that's fine, but don't constantly say, well, I'm a content creator, so I got to make sure that these pictures are great. It's like, we fucking know.
It's
just make them look good.
We know what content creators are. We know what influencers are. They're everywhere. They're all over the place. Kudos to you genuinely for being able to make a living off of it. That's awesome. You get to like promote your own life and people pay for it. Great. Seriously. That's not easy to do, especially in this saturated market. We don't need to be told what you're doing. We get it. We understand the premise of a social media content creator, but
exactly.
They're driving to the house and Erin's setting up for everybody to come over. And I do think this is a strong move. I think this is very presumptuous to be like, I'm only getting caviar, because caviar is not for everybody. It is very,
I would have been
very
livid.
rich.
I would have been
exactly.
livid.
You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people would be like, what the fuck? We're only having caviar. That being said, it was like 4 p.m. before dinner. Should she had more snack options? Yeah. But I just the level of complaining about the caviar got a little ridiculous. Like, the girls are in the car, like fake gagging and like,
that I agree with that
and all that stuff. Like,
but I do have an issue with it. I get, like, you're going from New York to the Hamptons, which is like on a Friday or whatever the hell
it's
they
a
were going.
drive.
It's like a 3-hour drive
but
up
they were
there.
snacking in the car.
Yeah, I know, but still, you just want like a little bit more. Like, put some sort of meat out there. Just like meat and cheese plate always hits. I will eat a ton of shit.
Well, shit. Last week, the meat or the cheese plate caused the whole thing. So you gotta be careful with cheese.
Then just eat the meat or whatever. Like, and I get like Uba with her dietary restrictions. She wants to go get a fucking sandwich from a deli and go to get Provision, whatever.
She made me want to go to Provision. She sold me. I was like, this place has to be great. She will not stop talking about it.
Yeah,
it's a great name. It's a great name.
But yeah, so I do understand that. I think it was honestly, well, I think we learned 2 things about Erin. Like, one, I think it was a bad move to only have caviar. You should definitely have some other options there, just to keep people at least like okay until 7 o'clock dinner. Because even 7 o'clock dinner, you're sitting down in the Hamptons. There's no rush there. Nobody fucking moves quickly. So everybody's going to slide around. You're going to get a couple of drinks. You're not going to actually eat till closer to 8. Like, there's a long time there.
You need some carbs.
You need some carbs just to hold you over, and otherwise you're gonna get some hangry people. And you know what? I'm a big hangry guy. If I don't eat, I know you are too. If you don't eat, you start getting a little upset about things. So just give them some food. But what I will also say is, I think Erin handled it well. For all the complaining that was going on, for all the bitching and moaning that was going on about the caviar, and obviously Uba going out to go get her own thing. Which the funny thing is, Uba was just like normal about it. Hey, I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to go get my own food. It's like, okay, whatever. Go get your own food.
Didn't cause a scene. Great. She just got up and went and got it.
No, but the other women were sitting there complaining about it and complaining about it and complaining about it. And Erin kept her cool. Look, Erin had people at her house in the Hamptons. She was really excited to have people there. I'm happy that, obviously, who was it? Cy or Jessel that had to go sleep in the kids' room?
That was Jessel.
Yeah, Jessel had to go. Yeah, Jessel had to go to the kids' room. There was no real room complaining either, which I thought was nice.
Cy complained.
Always.
Do you have a bigger room? This isn't going to work for me. I'm not a big Cy fan. I'm not. After this episode, she wasn't my favorite. She did complain about the room. She did it in that like fake joking way where it's like you're not actually kidding, you're actually upset about the size of a closet in a guest room at a guest house, like at somebody's
Well,
guest.
maybe if you didn't bring 15 fucking bags,
that's what I'm saying. You can't get upset because you brought your entire closet.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have space for it. Like, that's not fair. But
yeah, that's a good point.
Jenna gets to the house and the dill issue comes up. I firmly agree. Dill sucks. Dill is a terrible, terrible herb. I don't like it. I only use it when people want it. Like when I do private events, if people want a dill dish, I'll do it. I don't eat dill. I think it's overpowering. I think it ruins your palate for the rest of the evening. It's too strong. Jenna is totally right. I love the Pringle. I've had a Pringle with caviar, and it is a very satisfying pairing.
I love Pringles, so I'm fine with that.
I know. So for side of shit on the Pringle, like, oh, you're going high and low. It's like, dude, come on. She got a catering caviar company. You know that shit's expensive. You cannot shit on her because the company is like, we're trying a bunch of new things. We put caviar on a Pringle. I've had caviar on a Pringle. It's fucking great. So that's weird when she takes digs at like, but I guess that's kind of what we want, you know, like that upper, like high society part of the housewives again, where it's like
that's the part that I struggle with, where I do want that, but it still is going to bother me in some capacity.
Yeah,
and I'm going to get annoyed by it. But also, we do kind of need that, because if everybody just goes copacetic and everybody's just having a good time the whole time, we're going to need something more. So we do need to kind of toe that line at some point. But I'm still okay this early on, just kind of getting to know everybody instead of, you know, forcing people and having them complain about Pringles.
I would rather it grow organically, kind of how it is or seemingly is. I'm okay with it starting a little slow, I guess is what I'm saying. Like this episode not being a banger, I'm okay with, because I want it to grow. We both have talked about it at length even before the show aired. We don't want forced drama. We refuse forced drama. So the fact that they're not pushing it too hard, I actually like the fact that it's slower. But I do need to ask you, I feel like Erin is trying to make it seem as though her and Jenna are like this. I do not think they're that tight. The way she talks about Jenna, it's like, oh, I know Jenna better than everybody. Like, I wish she would like come out of her shell and like be herself. It's like, I don't think you're actually that tight with her. I think you're trying to be. I think you want to be. But I think this is, again, like a Beverly Hills Diana Jenkins scenario where as soon as Diana Jenkins got on the scene, Lisa Rinna was right up her ass.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And look, maybe she is tight with her, and because we know how Jenna is, where Jenna's not coming out of her shell in a big group, we're not really seeing it as much. But if you truly are tight with somebody, you're not going to keep boasting about it either in person or in your confessionals. So I do understand, like, there's got to be some reasonable doubt there where you're thinking, well, stop talking about it. Like, now you're starting to make me think that you're actually not tight with her because you're talking about it too much. So I do think there is some of that in there. I don't want to completely discredit it and say that she's not, because she could be, and maybe that's just how she is, and she's boastful, which also would make sense as a housewife.
I think it's a farce.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, honestly. Like, time will tell, and we'll be able to see, because in the future, I'm sure we'll have a couple of one-on-one scenes with just the two of them. We'll be able to see how close they actually are. If it's still just like that surface level bullshit, then we'll know right away.
But she, like, I'm back and forth on her. So she moved up on my power rankings. So she went from like bottom to, I think she's at 3 now. Honestly, Sai and Jessel are 4 and 5 respectively. But she moved up because of how she rolled with the complaints. She didn't let it ruin her night. She didn't let it like put her in a bad mood. She just called out how ridiculous it was and just kind of was like, nah, whatever. I'm not dealing with this shit. Like, even more so at dinner when, you know, Jenna needs her dreamy coffee and can't have regular coffee.
What is dreamy coffee?
I don't know, but it sounds wonderful.
I want it.
I know, me too. As soon as she said, I was like, ooh, what is that? Because that sounds
delightful.
Coffee. I might make a cup of decaf after this. That sounds nice. But
I don't think that's what dreamy coffee is, but all right.
It's not. I'm just saying coffee sounds good now. But we go back to earlier in the episode a little bit. We're jumping around, but that's fine. And we get to find out that Jessel has not had sex for 2 years at this point, since the kids were born, the twins. And I'm not trying to throw shade here at all. All right. So I guess I'm treading lightly, but not really. When they ask her, like, are you at least giving blowjobs? She's like, oh, yeah. Nope. If you haven't banged in 2 years, I don't think that there's extracurriculars happening frequently. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was weird. I mean, I think this is just going to be like a learning curve for a lot of these women. a lot of times when you bring up sex and the fact that you haven't had sex in a little while, they hold on to that and they
They're not.
will.
Oh, they hit it. They hammered the shit home to the point where I
Yeah,
actually started feeling bad for her at the end. I was like, all right, guys, like we get it. Leave her alone a little bit because she's probably a little
right.
self conscious about it. Like,
Yeah,
stop
I mean, you don't
talking.
want to keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it because maybe if it wasn't an issue to begin with, it now is. So just kind of like leave her alone, but also that's kind of on Jessel for giving up that information in the first place. Again, though, it is a housewife show, so you kind of want them to be vulnerable with their actual lives, and I do appreciate that. So I will err on the side of appreciating that Jessel did share that on live TV on
Yeah,
in a
no, I give
car
her
with
that.
these
Yeah,
women.
yeah, yeah.
So that's cool, but I will take some points away from the other women who just kept hounding her and hounding her and hounding her because that's just not gonna work.
But I think, like you said, it's a learning curve, right? Like
Yeah,
they're gonna learn. They're trying to play the game the right way, so they find out some drama. They're trying to like hammer it home a little bit. They're like, "Ooh, this might be good." I think that's good. Kind of what we're seeing a little
hmm
bit is like learning how to take some information and then use it to your benefit on the show. And I think that's going to take a little time. You got to get seasoned. I think they're going to learn which ones are going to really hit and which ones are more of a kind of a one-off, like let's talk about it and move on. I think that's just going to be a growing pain of a new cast.
for sure.
But moving on, and this is also like a knock on Erin again, like, so they show up empty-handed and she goes, you never show up to a house empty-handed. Cut to last week, she walks into Jenna Lyon's place empty-handed, didn't bring
Because it
anything.
was
So
raining was her
it's which
excuse.
is not an excuse. So like here's where I'm like, and again, it goes back to the I was joking comment last week when she called somebody about the cheese. It just seems to me that she says what people want to hear, or she says what she thinks people like us, the audience, want to hear. I don't know. It doesn't seem genuine in those moments. But then you have the moments where she's cool, calm, and collected after everyone's being annoying about the food. I'm like, all right, there's a good housewife here, and I think that
hmm
I will end up liking Erin more so. Like I said, she's already moved up 2 notches on my power ranking, so I'm excited to see what the future holds for her. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But
Always.
let's keep going. They're all at the house and they're kind of shooting the shit. We're learning a little bit more about these women. We start to talk about Jenna's mom. I guess she passed away 6 weeks ago from when this was filmed, and had battled a sickness for 8 months. We ended up starting to get better, and then it was a quick decline and ended up passing away. We end up also finding out that she was not very close with her due to her mom being diagnosed late in life with Asperger's,
Right.
which is really like, and I mean this respectfully, just intriguing to, who Jenna Lyons, the person, is. I think that I would like to hear more about this in a respectful manner. I think it's just kind of a unique scenario that you don't really get to hear about. And I think that it's really cool that she's willing to share that information on TV. And I would like for her to speak on it because I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there, whether it's parents or children or brothers or sisters or whomever, that can probably relate to that. And we love when these women are vulnerable enough to put themselves out there. So I think that she could do a lot of good with that storyline if she wants to pursue it. But I'm curious what her route's going to be, because we learned that she is dating somebody but is refusing to announce who that is. Like, she won't disclose that information, which is, I
Yeah,
don't like that.
I get it. It's one of those things that, and I think that's one of the hardest aspects of watching these shows is trying to separate real people from reality TV. And if you're giving me like the logical choice here, sure, yeah, whoever she's dating, she's always felt guarded when she's dating somebody. Maybe it goes back to when she was outed when she was dating that girl for a couple of
Which
weeks,
I
and
can't imagine, right? And that would
no,
be a
yeah,
good
that's
reason
got to
to
be
not want to talk about it.
for
Like, you got
sure.
outed by the post. Like, yeah, I'm not sharing my personal life. I get that. That's totally fair and reasonable. It's just, it's such a weird line to tiptoe now because she's on
Yeah,
a housewife show, and I don't want to
I
push it.
think that's the problem too, and I think that's where we're gonna get a lot of people that are split on it because, yeah, maybe her partner isn't, maybe her partner's in a similar situation that she was in a couple of years ago when she
Yeah, and
was
that could
outed
be
in the
true.
post.
And
Like
we don't
maybe
want
she
that.
doesn't want to quite do it, so we don't want that. We want people to kind of go at their own speed, figure out what they want to do. The partner maybe just didn't sign up for this, and she understands that, so she's protecting them. I get it. Um, I guess, yeah, I kind of land where you are, where it's like, look, you signed up for a reality TV. You should be able to tell them. But at the same time, I think the problem is that I like Jenna a lot and I want her to do well. that as soon as Sai steps in and she goes, well, she's met my husband. It's like, yeah, but your husband is somebody that you've married, you have kids with, that we're going to see on the show, who you probably consulted with about the show. And he said, sure, that sounds like a good idea. Get on the show. And as we know from talking to other husbands, like, yeah, you didn't really sign up for a lot of this. And, you know, you're not getting paid directly by Bravo, but you still have to show a lot of your life. It's really tough. I do understand if a partner wants to stay away from this. Like, that makes a lot of sense to me after hearing a lot of people talk about it. So that's where I'm kind of leaning. But again, it is a reality TV show. You should share as much as you possibly can. And I think what at the end of this episode, how I kind of felt about it, it's the second episode. I think that we will get everybody kind of fully out of their shell at some point, and we'll be able to know what's going on. And honestly, if by the end of the season, Jenna's still kind of guarding things, you know, we're not really learning a whole lot about everybody. It's just kind of like that surface level, whatever, every week. We might have to have Bravo step in and just say, look, you need to share more. You're on this show for a reason. You need to figure it out. We need to know more about you. You need to actually get into these personal conversations and be willing to share your personal life with the audience. That's the whole point of this show. So it might just need some tinkering, but I'm going to let it simmer because it's only episode 2.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And again, it's a touchy subject for sure. And we're not here to say, I can't imagine getting outed by the fucking New York Post. That's insane. That's horrible. Like, so yeah, obviously you're going to have some scar tissue there, and understandably so. It's a weird line because yeah, you're on reality TV. We need to know about your life. At the same time, it's a very real backstory of why you don't want to share that part of your life. And like, it's very, again, it's a tough line, but let's move on. And they get to dinner after the lingerie talk, but that kind of ties into the dinner because the main conversation about dinner is Jessel and her sex life. And everybody's got an opinion. Everybody has it figured out. And she says that she's self-conscious because of her C-section scar, and they've just never kind of, what do they, break the seal was the term used.
Yes. Yeah. Break the seal.
And look, I can't imagine what it's like to have a C-section scar. We'll never understand that. And I'm not going to speak like I do understand that. And I would imagine that if you're self-conscious about it, then having sex after having a child would be difficult. And I understand that your body goes through so many changes. I do a lot of postpartum training at the gym. There's a lot of things that you have to work through. Your body goes through hell. And your hormones are crazy. You have to get back to balance. And it's a really difficult process that you and I never have to go through. So like speaking on it's next to impossible. However, I think that for her to be vulnerable enough to talk about it and open up about it, and then for everybody in the group to have an opinion on how to fix it without being sentimental about it or showing any kind of sympathy, like just get on his dick and ride it. It's like, it's not that simple, or they would have done that. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not a big Jessel fan, but at the same time, she gave you the info. She's talking about it, and she's also not clapping back at all of you for having an opinion about it. But let's maybe lighten the fuck up. Like, talk to her as a friend. Like, okay, how do you think you can move past that? What have you guys tried? Have you tried anything? Can we help you through this? Instead of just put a sash over it, just do this. It's not, clearly it's not that easy, or they would have done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think that you don't even have to look at this like, oh yeah, they're not that comfortable with each other yet. They're not this and that. Like, if I'm not comfortable with somebody yet, I am not going to tell them, hey, you just need to start fucking. Like, that's not, right? That is certainly not where I'm going to go immediately. I'll either just kind of give them the space to talk and just figure out like where they are, or you give them actual advice and don't just do that. And I think that that's part of it, where these women are just, they're on TV for the first time. They're just going to kind of like go off and just start yelling random things. And they're not really considering Jessel's feelings on the matter. Like, yeah, they haven't had sex in 2 years. There might be something else at work here. Maybe she's, whatever's going on there is something that's going on in their marriage. If she's bringing this up now, I think personally she brought this up for a reason. Maybe she does want advice. Maybe she wants help. Maybe she wants people to kind of like chime in. But this is not the help that she needs. It just doesn't fucking help, because that's not how it works. Like, no, simple. You should be able to sit down and just be like, hey, have you gone to like a therapist to talk about this? Right. Is it a big issue with the two of you? Do you want to do this? Have you talked about it? Have you done this or that? Not, hey, just jump on his dick and like figure it out. Like, hey,
Yeah, that's a fucking
get
brutal
in
thing to
that
say.
sexy lingerie that you're gonna have out there and just wear it home and just see how it goes. Like, no, that's just not the fucking answer. You need to figure this out from a different standpoint. And she's coming to you guys for help, and you're not giving her help. You're just yelling things. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that it kind of explains at the end, I thought she was being an asshole about the lingerie. She didn't like her lingerie and she had a lot to say about it. A couple of the other women, Uba, had something to say about hers. At the end of the day, it was a gift to you by Jenna, right? You don't have to wear this shit after this evening. Like, I've gotten plenty of clothes for Christmas, for birthdays that I don't like. I don't open it and go, what the fuck is this? I'm not going to
No.
wear this. This is hideous. This makes me look awful, blah, blah, blah.
And
And
that's
stomp
the
around
thing
the
is
house.
she put it on and then went throughout the house and kept yelling about it. And like at first I kind of agreed with her. I was like, yeah, that does kind of suck. Like if it's unflattering and you don't like it, like that's one thing, but you can't wear it around the house and then keep talking trash on it to the person that gave it to you. Like,
I
no,
know.
what you do is you wear it, you look in the mirror and say, you know what, this isn't for me. It just doesn't fit right. It feels weird. Take it back off, put on your fucking pajamas and go downstairs and just be like, yeah, you know what? I tried it on, the fit just wasn't right. Maybe I can get it taken in. And then you don't
Right.
get it taken in. You
No,
just
you just don't
fucking leave
wear
it
it
in a
again.
box and just never wear it
Correct.
again. Like
You just
that's the
don't
way to
talk
go
about
about it. You don't carry a tirade like a 2-year-old and start
But she
screaming
takes it
about it.
as an insult. That's how
Yeah,
she takes it, as though Jenna was trying to like throw shade at her. And I don't think she was at all. I think she
not
was
at
like, oh,
all.
this will be fun. I'm gonna buy lingerie for all these ladies. It's her first girls trip. And the fact that she's trying to do things that are quote unquote girl trippy, like I bought us all lingerie, it's cute. Here's yours, here's yours, here's yours. That's nice. Like, take it for
It
what
is
it's a
nice,
fucking
yeah.
gift. You don't have to fucking wear it after tonight. Like, don't cause a scene. However, that's when I was like, "Ooh, here we go." Okay, Jenna's clearly not happy with it. Jessel legitimately stomps up the stairs while saying, "I hate it. I hate it." Like she's like throwing a tantrum like a teenager. Now we're getting into it a little bit. Now we're starting to
Yeah.
see a little bit of a divide, and I do think that when push comes to shove, I think Jessel will be able to hold her own. I'm curious to see how Jenna goes off because I would imagine she's very polished from the media. She's been in the limelight, right? She goes to the Met Gala every year. Like she's a person. She's a big name. So I'm curious to see how she's going to respond when the drama starts falling. Like
I
once
don't know.
everything starts
I think
going.
she's just gonna be quiet. I think that she's just gonna
That's what I'm
go like
nervous
be
about.
fully timid and not say anything. And then like, I don't know, episode 3 or 4, she's gonna have a mental fucking breakdown and start crying
Here's
because
the
of this
flip side.
tirade that happened.
Here's the flip side. When asked about, episode 1, Jess is like, I would have loved to have worked with you. She's like, ask anybody that's worked for me if they loved it. So now I'm like, okay, are we going to see that person come out,
I hope so.
boss Jenna, where she's like, oh, I don't take this shit from anybody. I'm about to
Yep.
put you in your place. That's what I want to see. Am I confident we're going to get that? No, I'm
No,
leaning
not
more
at
towards
all.
the polished, like press answer, media answer, but we're getting some rumblings. I'm excited to see what happens.
Agreed.